everyone, welcome back to another edition of EDTalks. Right now I'm just in a really joyous mood. I'm feeling the Christmas spirit. I'm just really happy that Christmas is almost here. So we're gonna dump all this political garbage and we're gonna talk about one of the best films of 2018, Illumination Animation's The Grinch. Okay, that was obviously sarcasm on my part. My girlfriend dragged me along to see this Friday night, and she even made me use my AMC gift card, which was a birthday present, so thank you for that. Anyways, I came into this movie not really expecting much. I didn't think it was going to be terrible, but I wasn't expecting any Get Out or Citizen Kane. And yeah, I was right about that. It's not good. It's not a terrible movie. Okay, I'm just gonna get all the positive stuff out of the way first, because I'm gonna rail on this film for the next few minutes. So I think it's just better to get those out of the way, starting with the animation. They reused a lot of sets, and their animation style is super cheap. This company knows that they are going to make a ton of money on whatever they release, so they try spending as little as possible to make as much money as they can. That being said, I will say, when I was watching it, I thought that this looked like a Dr. Seuss movie. Now, I'm not going to give them any credit for character design, because Dr. Seuss did already create these characters. I will give them that they didn't mess up the character design like they did in Jim Carrey's Grinch, so that's a positive. And I also thought the toys and gadgets the Grinch uses were very imaginative throughout the movie, and I thought that that would be something Dr. Seuss would create. So, animation was definitely a plus compared to the rest of the film. Okay, so now that we've gotten the good stuff out of the way, now let's talk about the bad stuff. Okay, let's first talk about Cindy Lou Who. Now, I think a lot of people don't understand that this character was not a huge part of the book. She barely appeared in the book. She barely appeared in the short film on TV that comes on every Christmas. But for some reason, she has these huge roles in both Jim Carrey's and now Illumination's versions. It really doesn't make sense why she becomes so much of a complex character. She's done way better in the live-action version. She's very simple. She's just, oh, I think everyone's good. The Grinch could be good. I'm gonna try getting the Grinch to be good. It's very simple. It sounds like a second grader made it, which is perfectly fine. In this one, though, for some reason, it is so depressing. She wants her mom to have a better life because she's overworked, so she wants to ask Santa to make her mom's life better. It's nice and it shows her character, but it is so sad and way too complex for a character that really shouldn't be that important to the story. I know she, turns the Grinch around, but she really doesn't need all of this character development. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the plot. It's very convoluted and messy, and I think that's very impressive. It takes a lot of skill to make a story so simple, so messy. I really applaud Illumination on this one. They did a fantastic job making this just a complete mess. So let's all think about the actual story of The Grinch, Dr. Seuss's book. The Grinch doesn't like Christmas. The Who's annoy him. He steals Christmas. He talks to Cindy Lou Who. She kind of gets an idea of a change of heart going. He sees the Who singing. He takes all the presents back, and they all have a nice time together. In this one, though, it takes about 30 minutes. 30 minutes before he even gets the idea of stealing Christmas. And this movie is less than an hour and 30 minutes long. This is way too long. It is just a bunch of filler. It sets up way too many things. It sets up Cindy Lou Who wanting a better life for her mom. the Grinch basically just screws around for the first 30 minutes of the movie, and it establishes that he doesn't like the Who's. It really doesn't do more than that, though, so it's just 30 minutes of complete filler. First acts can be long like that, but not for a movie this short, because the third act is 20 minutes long. 20 minutes. And let me keep in mind that that is actually when the most stuff in the movie happens. He steals Christmas, he learns his lesson, he goes back to the Who's. That's all. The third act should be the whole movie, and it's 20 minutes long. So then the longest act, where the most stuff should be happening, is just the Grinch screwing around. I don't know how you mess up such an easy plot. I feel like these writers have never heard the term less is more. You know, the term where you don't add so much stuff it becomes messy. Usually people say that a lot because it's true and you should listen to it. By far, just the worst thing about this movie is the Grinch himself. I don't know if this dude can even be classified as the Grinch. He acts more like a angsty teenager throughout the film and a broken man. Now, I get that his heart is 3 times too small or whatever, 2 times too small, I don't care. But they feel the need to add motivation for this. You really don't need more motivation than he's just kind of a cruel person. Like, they add in this whole backstory, which they basically steal from Jim Carrey's version, of how he was an orphan, society doesn't really care about him, and he just becomes sad and angry, and he hates Christmas because it happened around Christmas time. The Grinch is not a hard character. He is a mean, sly, isolated person who hates Christmas because the Who's are very loud to him and annoy him every single year. He decides to steal Christmas to end it, but has a change of heart. He's just mean. There's no reason why he's mean. You don't need a reason why he's mean. Keep the simple character. You don't need to do all this stuff other than to pad the runtime. Even when you take out the backstory, this Grinch, and I can't tell if it's Benedict Cumberbatch or the writing. I would like to say the writing because I know Benedict Cumberbatch is a great actor. I'm still not sure. This dude acts like a teenager. You know how the Grinch in the original, was sly and actually mean? This dude is just like annoyed with the Who's. He's not really mad at them. He's just kind of annoyed, and the Grinch is supposed to be, like, furious with this civilization. He's passive-aggressive to all the Who's, and, he shows some heart even in the first and second acts with regards to the reindeer Fred, who they added into the movie because they needed a plot device at the end to save the carriage. I understand the importance of showing that he can have a heart, but when you do stuff like this, it just makes him seem like his heart is already there. That would not be something the Grinch would do, and it feels totally out of character. In addition to this, when he's planning stuff, he seems nervous and all over the place, and he doesn't know what he's doing. He has these ideas, but he's very confused most of the time, and even when he's executing his plans, he's like a bumbling idiot. You know how the Grinch was, sly in the book and, executed his plans perfectly? Yeah, they just kind of threw that out, because why do we need to be true to the source material? Dr. Seuss can't write books, but we can write movies. We're so good at writing movies. Look at our track record. Look at all 3 of the Despicable Me's and Minion movies. Look at Sing. Look at Hop. Look at the Lorax. We know Dr. Seuss.
Who is this mean fellow with his skin all green and his teeth all yellow? What you so mad for? Halloween come around and we ain't knocking at your door, man.
And then, instead of being angered by Christmas, throughout the film, he seems terrified of it. It's like a dog terrified of someone coming at them with a knife. Like, he cowers in fear when anyone gets close to him who is talking about Christmas. Like, he goes into town and he's on the lookout for anyone coming at him. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So, instead of being this mean, cruel, smart, and sly person, he's instead passive-aggressive, sarcastic, a bumbling idiot, and nervous. That's the Grinch, everybody. Now, okay, I'm sure a lot of people want to know, is Jim Carrey's version better, or is this version better? There are things I like about both, but I would put them at about the same level. I will say fundamentally, Jim Carrey's version is so much better, but stylistically, this one blows Jim Carrey's out of the water. Jim Carrey's Grinch was actually the Grinch. I know he's more of like an egocentric maniac in that movie, but it's still closer than being like a bumbling idiot like he is in this one. And it does follow the book somewhat more closely. It has the stupid backstory to try to give him motivation, but at the same time, it's really not too distant from the book. There's a lot of filler, don't get me wrong, but it's at least not the Grinch bumbling around like an idiot through most of the film. I will say, I like the Whoville in Illuminations a lot better. They're not, like, terrified of the Grinch. They just don't really care, and it makes them seem like more caring people and a caring society, which they are. They don't really care about who's who. They just accept everyone during Christmas time and love everyone, which they don't in Jim Carrey's. They're just really mean people. So, if I had to compare the two, I would say for Jim Carrey's, The Grinch is better, the plot is stronger, but I will give Illuminations that their style is much better. I'll give them that. And their Whoville is much better. But they're pretty similar films. It should just be a short film on TV. And that one's fine. That one's good. It gets the message across. It doesn't have all this filler. It doesn't have this bland dialogue. It doesn't have this forced backstory. It doesn't have any of this just schlock that this movie has. I just think that without putting a bunch of schlock, then it wouldn't be a feature-length film. Which should mean that this isn't even an idea that should have been conceived. But it was, because Illumination likes money and has a partnership with Dr. Seuss, so of course they're gonna take the money and make this terrible movie. So is it bad as Transformers The Last Night or the Emoji Movie? No. Is it as good as, like, any other animated films that have come out this year? Definitely not. It's just kind of a bad movie. It's not terrible. It's just bad, and it really shouldn't have been made. And that's all really that can be said by it. Actually, I take it all back.
Oh,
this
it's
song
so
by the Creators is the
I
best
love
movie
Christmas.
ever given me.
My favorite time
So much. I could write about it every day. I should actually do an analysis on the next podcast. Maybe I can call it EDTalks Grinch.
Grinch is the best song all year. I love this Grinch so much. Oh, this part is awesome. This part is just like, oh,